Welcome to Bright Path Academy, where we teach SAT math, reading, and writing so that everyone can do well on the SAT. Do you ever get stuck on those writing grammar questions? Well, this one is for you. Number 22 says, researchers Amit Kumar and Nicholas Ibley investigated how blank in a series of experiments conducted in 2022. They found that people performing small acts of kindness underestimated the positive effects of their actions had on others. Which choice completes the text so that it conforms to the conventions of standard English? This one is a bit of a tricky one because the word how, usually we say, well, how do you do something? Or how come is kind of an example of a question, right? And so you have two question marks here, and you wonder if those are the correct answers. But we notice that the word how is actually used as more of like what they're researching, the topic of the research, rather than actually as in how do you do something or how come. So they say that the experiments, they found that people performing small acts of kindness underestimated. So underestimated means that their perception of something or their view of something was different than what their original view was. So A says, investigated how do people perceive acts of kindness. When you say how do people perceive, what you're trying to say is how do they perceive acts of kindness? Like, how do they do it? Like, do they perceive acts of kindness with their eyes? Do they perceive acts of kindness with their nose? Do they perceive acts of kindness with their hands? But that's not what the author is trying to say. What the author is trying to say is actually how people perceive, how do they view kindness is what they're trying to say. So A is not correct. B says, how do people perceive acts of kindness as a question? Like, how do they do something? That is also not correct. Again, the author is not asking how do you do something, but rather how someone views something. So it's different. C says how people perceive acts of kindness, as a question. But the author is not asking a question here. He's actually trying to state something. He's stating what the research is about. So C is not correct. It's not a question. D says researchers investigated how people perceive acts of kindness. This is correct because the authors are trying to say how people view acts of kindness. The perception or the view is that they underestimate the positive effects. So that is what the author is trying to say. So number 22 is a little bit tricky because you really have to analyze the words to figure out the meaning behind the author's intended meaning rather than not only what the grammar says, but also the meaning and the comprehension behind the words. Okay, if you like this video, please like and subscribe. I also offer one-to-one tutoring, and I'll see you guys next time.